There's a specific kind of silence that happens when someone you trust says something damaging about a leader you believe in. Not the silence of someone thinking. The silence of someone who just felt something shift in their chest and isn't sure yet whether it was anger or recognition. You know that silence. Maybe you've watched someone go quiet in exactly that way. Eyes still, jaw slightly tight, while they decided, in real time, whether to engage or just let the moment pass. That silence is not confusion. That's the sound of identity defending itself. And here's what nobody says about that moment. The person sitting in that silence is not stupid. They are not brainwashed in the way the word usually implies, passive, blank, emptied out. Most of the time, they are sharp. They have jobs, opinions. They can spot a lie in a contract or an inconsistency in an argument. But something about this leader, this loyalty, operates in a different room entirely. One that normal reasoning doesn't easily enter. And if you've ever felt that specific helpless anger of presenting someone with evidence and watching it dissolve before it reaches them, you already know this is not a simple information problem. You cannot fix it with more information. Everyone has already tried, which means the question was never about information at all. The question is what the loyalty is actually. For what function it is serving in a person's life that makes it more durable than evidence, more resistant than logic, more personally felt than almost any other position they hold, because it is more personal. There's a temperature difference the moment you enter the conversation, a charge in the air that isn't there when you disagree about taxes or infrastructure or foreign policy. This touches something underneath the political, and once you see the architecture of what's holding this loyalty in place, you stop being frustrated. You become, instead, slightly unsettled, because the architecture is not foreign. It's the same structure that holds things you believe in place. I've been thinking about this for a long time, not as a political question, but as a human one. Because I kept watching intelligent people with jobs and families and functioning lives, defend leaders who by any measurable standard had done things that should have ended the loyalty. I kept asking the wrong question. How can they not see it? The better question is, why does seeing it feel like loss? Here's something nobody talks about when they analyze political loyalty. The leader usually didn't come first. The feeling came first. Think about the supporters who rallied behind a populist outsider when he first stepped onto the political stage, someone who finally said the things everyone else was pretending not to notice, or those who followed a charismatic national hero through every contradiction and broken promise, defending him long after the cracks were visible, before the loyalty, before the rallies, the merchandise, the arguments at dinner tables. There was a specific feeling that someone had finally said the thing out loud. For a lot of people, it was the first time in years that politics felt real, personal, like it was actually about them. And you don't walk away from the first person who made you feel visible. There's a concept called identity fusion. It sounds academic. It isn't. At some point, the supporter stops seeing the leader as a separate person they've chosen to back. They start experiencing the leader's story as an extension of their own. His enemies become their enemies. His humiliation lands in their chest. His victories feel like personal vindication. When that happens, the rules change completely. You no longer evaluate him the way you evaluate a stranger. You evaluate him the way you evaluate your father, your older brother, with automatic context and a default toward forgiveness. That doesn't even feel like forgiveness. That's not weakness. That's just what attachment does to judgment. And it does it to everyone. But here's the part that actually keeps me up at night. The criticism doesn't just fail to break the loyalty. It feeds it. Every investigation, every expose, every voice saying this person is dangerous, to a fused supporter that doesn't read as information. It reads as confirmation that powerful people are threatened, that the establishment is nervous, that he must be doing something right. Put any group of people under enough external pressure, and they stop questioning their leader and close ranks. That's not a political phenomenon. That's biology. That's what kept tribes alive for 200,000 years. The tragedy is, the wiring doesn't know the difference between a physical threat and a newspaper article. And then there's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. Leaving is expensive, not financially, but socially, emotionally, cognitively. If you spent 3 years defending someone, argued with your brother at Eid dinner, lost a friendship over it, staked your credibility on their character, then accepting you were wrong doesn't just change your opinion of the leader, it changes your opinion of yourself. Were you naive? Were you manipulated? Did you cause harm while believing you were doing good? Most reasonable, intelligent people will find a way to avoid that reckoning. Not because they're cowards, but because the mind protects itself. So instead of reassessing the leader, it reassesses the evidence, finds holes in it, raises the bar for proof, decides this accusation is politically motivated, even while knowing, somewhere quieter, that the pattern is real. Every cycle of that. Defense makes the exit more costly, and most people stay not because they're convinced, but because leaving now would mean explaining all the times they didn't leave before. I want to stop here for a second, because I think most people watching this have already decided they're not in this category, that this is about other people, less educated people, more emotional people. That belief is doing exactly what the loyalty does. It's protecting you from an uncomfortable self-examination. The mechanisms I'm describing, identity fusion, motivated reasoning, sunk cost of belief, siege mentality, these are not bugs in a certain type of brain. They are features of every brain, including the ones that feel most certain they're immune. The only real difference between someone caught in this loyalty and someone watching from outside is which leader, which moment, which wound in their personal history made them vulnerable to that particular resonance. Everyone has something they hold past the point where the evidence justifies holding it. A relationship, a career decision, a belief about themselves. The followers aren't a different species. They're just more visible about it. Controversial leaders almost always offer the same thing at the core: a world that makes sense, a clear villain, a clear reason why your life has been harder than it should have been. For people living in ambiguity, economic anxiety, cultural dislocation, a slow feeling that the institutions they were raised to trust have quietly stopped working. That clarity is not nothing, it's relief, and you don't abandon relief just because someone shows you a spreadsheet, but contempt for the followers has never, not once, broken this pattern, because contempt doesn't address what built the loyalty. It just confirms the siege, gives people one more reason to close ranks around the very thing you're trying to pull them away from. The harder question, the one that requires something from you, is not how could anyone believe in someone like that. It's what were they looking for before he arrived?